Weston Baptist Church was formed and met in the Assembly Rooms in West Street, which is now Love's Cafe, in 1847. In 1849, the church and congregation began to thinking of building a house for God so that his worship could be carried out without the inconvenience of hired rooms. Money was raised, and at a cost of something less than £1,000, the chapel was built and opened in 1850, housing about 300 worshippers. By 1862, the chapel was found to be too small for the growing congregation. This led to the resolve to enlarge the place of worship. During the rebuilding, the church met again at the Assembly Rooms. Instead of just an enlargement, the present chapel, as we know it now, was almost entirely a new erection. This new chapel was designed by Hans Price at a cost of £1,200, using as far as possible the materials from the old chapel. The capacity was increased to about 700 and opened for worship in 1864. By 1878, the congregation had increased again, so necessitated the enlargement of the church to seat 850. From the 1947 centenary brochure, which reads, "At 9:50 on Saturday, January the 4th, 1941, a bomb fell near the corner of the caretaker's house and the corner property, smashing the stained glass windows, tore all of the doors, smashed all the schoolroom roof and half the church roof, and brought widespread damage. During the next 18 months, repairs to the buildings were gradually done, and by the summer of 1942, the church was again in good repair and normal work of the church in full swing. On Sunday night, June 28, 1942, the church premises were totally destroyed by firebombs. After lengthy negotiations with the War Damage Commission, reconstruction of the church was finally begun in August 1850. The commission paid for the building, but members of the congregation had to provide for the seating, electric lighting, organ and communion furniture. Money was raised by the Baptist Women's League and the church was reopened free of debt in October 1951. With dwindling worshippers in 1985, the church closed its doors and the building and the land it stood on was sold to a property developer to build a block of flats. At the very last minute, as contracts were exchanged, the Western Civic Trust stepped in and offered a higher sum of money to save the building. This offer was accepted and the church was by now not in good condition, and a series of projects was launched to make remedial repairs. The plan was to turn it into an arts and community centre. The Friends of the Blakehay, as it is now renamed, hosted many fundraising events to finance the work throughout the late 1980s. Income was also raised by letting out rooms for local clubs to rent and for local bands to rehearse. During this time, plans were drawn up and the building was converted into a theatre, with raked auditorium being installed. In 1989, the Mass, now the accountant's office, was sold off to raise even more money to pay off the outstanding debts. In 2004, the Blakehay Theatre was bought by Weston-super-Mare Town Council. In 2010, the front of house areas were refurbished and made accessible, and in 2017, the upper floor of the old school auditorium was adapted to become a studio, a multi-purpose space for drama, cinema, dance and yoga classes.